almost unthinkable. Only 3 years ago, Gulf Arabs navies have held their first joint military exercises with Israeli warships, coordinated by the US Navy. The USS Portland Transport Dock ship was among the vessels that took part in the joint exercise. The 5-day drill in the Red Sea involved the warships from the UAE, Bahrain, Israel, and the United States. It included boarding, search and seizure tactics to help ensure freedom of navigation. The United States Naval Forces Central Command said the training would enhance interoperability between participating forces. Maritime interdiction teams. The exercise follows the signing of the Abraham Accord in September 2020, which saw the United Arab Emirates and Bahrain normalize their relation with Israel. Since then, there have been an intense exchange of diplomatic, military, and intelligence contacts between Israel and those Gulf states, as all parties shared their concern over Iran's activities. The head of Israel's Mossad intelligence agency has made a public visit to Bahrain, and in October, the commander of the UAE's Air Force arrived in Israel on his first ever such visit. Iran, which recently announced its own naval exercises east of the Strait of Hormuz, strongly resents the presence of US and other Western navies in the Gulf region. During the time of the Shia, Iran was the dominant local naval force in the area. Since the Islamic Revolution of 1979, it has frequently called on Gulf Arab states to expel US forces, telling them that Iran is a natural partner for taking care of Gulf security. Their suggestions have fallen on deaf ears as all 6 Gulf Arab states continue to host US military facilities. The Saudis, Bahrain, and Emirates in particular remain deeply suspicious of Iran and its Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps (IRGC). They have watched with alarm as Iran successfully defied international sanctions to build up a network of powerful proxy militias across the Middle East. More than 6 years of Saudi-led airstrikes in Yemen have failed to defeat the Iran-backed Houthi rebels. Hezbollah in Lebanon has grown stronger than ever, and Iran has gained a significant foothold in both Iraq and Syria by funding and arming militias and sending its own forces to bolster the regime of Syria's President Bashar al-Assad. Iran has also built up a formidable arsenal of ballistic missiles capable of striking anywhere in the Gulf, while the IRGC's navy have expanded rapidly its fleet to fast-torpedo and mine-laying boats. Israel shares Gulf Arab concerns about Iran and is becoming increasingly worried by its nuclear program, after first the US and Iran abandoned the commitment set out in the 2015 nuclear deal. The so-called Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action (JCPOA). Israel suspects Iran of working towards building a nuclear warhead, which Iran denies. Israel and Iran have also been engaged in an undeclared and low-level maritime conflict that have seen mysterious attacks on ships at sea as far apart as the Red Sea and the Gulf of Oman. In July 2021, an explosion drone attack blamed on Iran killed a British security guard and a Romanian crew member on an Israeli-linked tanker off the coast of Oman. Iran denies the involvement. But on 14 September 2019, something happened that completely changed the calculus of Saudi strategic planners in Riyadh. In the dark hours before dawn, a barrage of precisely targeted drones and missiles slammed into Saudi Arabia's vital oil processing installation at Abqaiq and Quraysh, temporarily knocking out half the kingdom's output in a single attack. Yemen's Houthi rebels claimed to be behind it, but the missiles were launched from the north, and later investigation concluded that they had been fired by an Iranian proxy militia across the border in southern Iraq. The message was clear: Iran, if it chose, could seriously damage the Saudi Arabia and its allies' critical national infrastructures, including key water desalination plants as well as economic lifelines. The Saudi response to the attack was notably muted, and in recent months talks have been underway between Iranian and Saudi officials aimed at diffusing the tension between them. This does not mean that Tehran and Riyadh are about to be friends, just a recognition that both countries will be the losers in any future conflict, and that somehow, despite their differences, they need to find a way to live peacefully in the region.